What's up, guys? Kenny Cannon here, founder and creator of Cannon Training Technologies. We do millions of dollars in sales every single year. We do information sales, consulting, coaching, things like that. I'm not here to sell you anything. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you about how to create a killer offer no matter what business you are in. So if you like business stuff, mindset stuff, sales, marketing, stuff like that, click the subscription below, click the subscription button, and also hit the bell so you get notified because I do a lot of videos. I'm going to do a lot more videos about this stuff on YouTube in 2022. I didn't post a lot of public stuff on YouTube for a long time, but I'm going heavy into it this year. It's one of my big things in 2022. Organic outreach in YouTube is absolutely huge, and it's becoming bigger every single day. So I'm going to be putting out at least a video a week, and as we get deeper into the year, probably 2, 3, or 4 videos a week. So definitely subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when I put out a new video. So we're going to be talking about how to create an offer today. All right, so there's really 3 things in a business that need to be done in order for that business to be successful, right? So those 3 things are, and I believe it's in this order too, by the way. Those 3 things are: number 1, audience, which we haven't talked about here yet, but we will as time goes on. Number 1, audience. If you have a crazy crowd of people that is starving for something, right? So think about this. I'll give you an example. If you were selling masks in March of 2020, you don't got to be a good business person. You got to be a good salesman. You don't have to be a good marketer. You could be a complete idiot and you would have done well, right? Now that's an extreme example, but that's an example of a really good audience, right? So audience, number 1. Number 2, you have to have a killer offer. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. And number 3, you have to have a way to put those 2 together. You have to have a way to take that offer and put it in front of the audience so that the audience sees it and they buy it. Okay, so when we talk about offers, I'm going to be doing it here on the whiteboard up that way, I believe it is. This could be a $5 offer where you're selling something in a store or like whatever, or it could be a $10,000 coaching offer or anywhere in between. It doesn't make it that you could be a landscaper. The offer works exactly the same. No matter what business you're in, it's always going to be exactly the same, okay? I'm gonna make it very easy for you. You're gonna take a lot of notes in this video. It's gonna be a relatively short video, but take a lot of notes because I'm not gonna be writing much down. I'm just gonna be telling you this stuff and you wanna keep track of it. All right, so the way that I create offers very simply is this. It works as a scale. So I'm gonna draw this on the thing here for you, okay? And we have to understand before we create the offer itself, we have to understand why people buy things, okay? And there's really only 2 reasons why people buy anything in the world. This could be a car, could be a pack of gum, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. People buy things for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. And those 2 reasons are status. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to put an S there. Status and experience. Okay? That's it. Status and experience. So why do people not buy things? Well, status and experience as well, right? So the reason why someone is not buying what you're selling is because they believe in some way, shape, or form that making the purchase is going to negatively affect either their status and or experience, one of the 2 of them or both, right? So the only reason why they don't buy is because they believe that what you have is going to negatively affect their status and or experience in some way, shape, or form in life. The reason why they do buy is because they believe that your product or service is going to increase their status and or experience more than having the money, right? So this is why people will buy a pack of gum to increase their experience or status for $1 without thinking about it. But when they buy a $10,000 thing, they may have to think about it a little bit more. When they buy a $100,000 thing, as the price goes up, they think about it more. The reason why is because the status and experience in exchange for the money. They're thinking, is my status and experience going to go up by having $10,000 in the bank or by buying the offer or product or whatever? What's going to bring me more status and a better experience? The money or the offer? When it's $1, there's no real thinking there. But when it's 10,000, there's a lot of thinking, right? So the question really is, how do we put something together where on one side of the equation, we bring this way up in the air, and in the other side, we bring this way down to the ground? This is, when it comes to creating offers, this is what we have to think about, right? So I'm going to give you some examples. status and experience. The first thing we want to look at are things like time, right? Time. That's an experience issue. So if we can lower the amount of time it takes someone to get a result, well, that's a good thing, right? So we could put time on this side, right? If we're increasing time, that's a bad thing. I always have people, they'll say things like, oh, well, the dentist charged me $500 to pull my wisdom tooth, and it only took him 5 minutes. Would you want him to stay there for 3 hours? Because he probably could have. No, because the value is in the time. You don't want to be there for 3 hours. You want to be there for 5 minutes. I'd rather pay $500 for 5 minutes than pay $100 for 3 hours, right? Because time is a really big value pusher when it comes to the offer. So we have time. Let me get rid of this thing. I don't want to do that. Let me get rid of this time in the middle here, and we'll just put a T on this side. Time is something we want to bring down. So another thing that we could think of is like, how can I put this? Like the way people think of them, right? So this we want to put on this side. So one of the things when I sold cars, I used to always, one of my biggest closes was I used to say, what is your neighbor going to think when you drive home with a big red bow and a brand new car, right? What other people think of you is a big deal. Now people will always say, oh, I don't care what other people think of me. You do. Everybody does. It's human nature. So if we can show our customer that by buying our product, everyone around you is going to think more of you, then that's a huge status boost. It's a huge experience boost. That makes them more likely to buy it, right? The other thing that we could talk about here is something like assurance, right? Assurance is basically like, I'm going to get the result. If they can think and believe that they're definitely going to get the result, that's a good thing for status and experience, because on this side, we don't want them to be embarrassed, right? I'll just put EM. We don't want them to be embarrassed, right? If they know that if they buy your product or service, they're going to get the promised result, assurance, they're assured of it, that gets rid of the embarrassment of having somebody say to them, I told you you shouldn't have bought that thing from that guy. I told you that was a scam. I told you that was a stupid investment. They don't want to hear that, right? And that's what's going on in their head. So if we can lower the embarrassment level by upping the assurance level on this side, showing them that you are going to get the result, you are going to get the thing you're promised, you are going to see what you want to see here, that gets rid of the embarrassment, ups the assurance, makes them more likely to buy. The other thing here would be something like commitment, and this could be on both sides, right? I'll just put COMM, commitment. So this could be, again, this could be specific to the offer, right? Sometimes we want to lower the commitment. Sometimes it could be over here, right? Sometimes it could be over here. So like gym memberships will go no commitment, and that attracts more people in, right? But on the other side, it might be, look, we're going to force you to commit to this. We're going to hold your feet to the fire. We're going to make you accountable. We're going to hold you accountable, right? These are all pluses. We want to raise these in most offers. Some offers we don't, but in most offers we do. We're going to hold you accountable so that you get the result that you're after, right? We're going to hold you accountable. We're going to make you be committed because your biggest problem is probably that you haven't followed through or something like that, right? As we raise those things, what happens? The embarrassment level goes down. The failure level goes down. We'll put the big F there as well. We'll put the rejection thing here, right? The rejection and the failure and the risk goes down. All that stuff we want to bring down. All the other stuff we want to bring up. We want to talk about how people think of them, how people are going to perceive them. That's a status level, right? We want the status level to go up. We're going to say, assurance. Look at all of these testimonials that I have. Look at all the results that I've had in the past. We don't want to say this directly. We want them to think it, but that assures that you're going to get the result. And again, we're not going to say that, but that's going to boost the assurance, right? We want to make sure that they're held accountable, that they're held responsible, that they're going to get the result that they want to get. All of those things we want to go up. Another one too, time. We talked about time on this side. We want to bring it down, right? But we also want to bring time up on this side, meaning the time that's, when I say time up, what I mean is we want the time to get the result shorter. So we're going to bring it down, but we're also going to prove to them that that's possible by bringing it up here with using assurance. So we'll say things like, talking about time, we'll say something like, people that I'll talk business because that's what I sell mostly. So we'll say things like, people that do a 9 to 5 job do this as well. Here's the example number 1. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. Here's number 4. Here's number 5. So we're talking about the time commitment, and we're assuring them that they're not going to be embarrassed and they are going to get the result they're after, right? So again, it's not just time commitment, sure, it's fine, you'll do it, everybody does it. No, we're telling them about the time commitment that's required, and then we're assuring them by showing them other people that have gotten it, and we're also taking the time down to achieve the result. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's making sense to you. So this is kind of, when I'm thinking about offers, this is kind of where I start, right? I sit down and I say to myself, how can I make them believe that other people are going to think about them better by doing my thing? How do I assure that they're going to get the result? How do I show them that so many people in the past got it, they're going to get it if they do what I teach them to do? How do I bring the embarrassment level down? How do I bring the risk level down? How do I bring the time commitment or the time to achieve the result down? How do I prove all of those things? Right? Once I get all that stuff written out, what I start to do is I'm going to clear this out. So if you want to take a picture of this or something, go for it. Then what I start to do is I start to list it out, right? I'll say time. How do I make the time commitment less? Well, that could be a checklist, right? Maybe I'm going to do a done for you thing. So instead of building a funnel, which is going to take a lot of time, I will give you the funnel that I have, right? Instead of you doing your own, this is an example that I don't really use, but let's just say I'm going to teach them something about webinars, right? Instead of me giving you a template for a webinar and just saying, have at it or whatever, I'm going to give you the one that I use so that you can edit mine and it's already done, right? Or maybe I'll say, I'm going to give you 20 email templates that you can use for your autoresponder. This is all time related, right? I'm not forcing them to, or I'm not making them do all this stuff on their own. I'm cutting the time down. But what's cool about this is also an assurance thing, right? Because if this is my checklist, if this is my funnel, if this is my webinar, if these are my emails, that's pretty much guaranteed result, right? If they're using all of my stuff and they actually do it, that's pretty much a guaranteed result. Now, how do I reduce the risk? We reduce the risk on this side of the little thing here, right? We have ES and ES. I'm terrible at writing these things. Bring this side down, bring this side up. How do we reduce the risk? That could be a guarantee, right? That could be, and there's a number of ways you could do guarantees. We'll have a whole entire video on that. There's a number of ways. That could be, pay a lot of things. I love offers like this. Pay after you get the result. So pay for performance. So like, you don't have to pay now. Just say yes and we'll get to work, but I'm going to take 20% of whatever I bring in. Done. That's a beautiful offer. Those things work amazing, okay? So if you have the ability to do that in your business, that's awesome. You should do it 100% of the time. Because again, it's just, they're going to pay for the result. There's no risk whatsoever. And it's so much better than just some standard money back guarantee. Pay me 10 grand and then if it doesn't work, whatever. Pay for performance is so much better. So you could do guarantee, you could do pay for per performance, you could do payment plans, right? So you could say something like, if I'm going to do that, like if you want to do this, we could start off at $1,000 to start it up, and then your next payment will only come once you get your first result. Simple, right? You could do some sort of payment plan like that. So that's how you that's how you lower the risk, and by lowering the risk, you lower the chances of embarrassment, you lower the chances of any kind of status negativity or any kind of experience negativity. How else, right? Let's erase this. How else do we do it? When we talk about experience, right? Maybe we have a welcome call where every single person that comes in, and I'm talking more high level here, but you can apply it to any business in the world, right? So maybe it's a welcome call. So when they sign up for our program, they get a call by me directly. Okay, and I welcome them and I talk to them for 15 or 20 minutes and show them around. Maybe I set up everything for them to get started, right? So instead of me emailing you a link to sign up for your members area, instead of you having to set up a password, instead of you having to wonder where to go and where to start, I personally set it up for you, right? And I'm just brainstorming. I'm not saying you have to do any of these things. I'm not saying I do any of them. I'm just saying these are all things that you could do to increase the status or experience of your customer, okay? You could do things like cards. You can welcome people with like cards, or you can send them a birthday card or a Christmas card or whatever. I used to do that in the car business all the time, and it was fantastic for referrals. You could send cards out. You can just have a great product, right? So product is huge when it comes to experience. If you have a crappy product, none of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today in the last video or in any video that I do in the future is going to help you. Like, it's not going to help you at all if you have a crappy product. The best way to increase experience is to have a fantastic product. That's not really going to increase status all that much, but it will increase the experience of the person. And I'm not just talking about, when I say fantastic product, I'm not just talking about like a fantastic product or service from a result standpoint. That is really important, to have a fantastic product or service from a result standpoint. But what I'm really talking about is like, if you're a landscaper, you can increase the experience by, you could be an okay lawn cutter, but you show up on time. You do something like, look, I come on a Wednesday, and this whole block, they have garbage on Wednesdays. So when I go to each of their houses, I bring their pails up for them. That's an increase in experience. That's going above and beyond with your service, and that's going to help you in the short term and in the long term, right? You see a piece of paper on their lawn, pick it up and throw it away. That's all an increase in experience from the person. It's not really a results level thing, because a results level thing will be you're a better lawn cutter. You're better at cutting the lawn. The lawn looks better, right? It's more of just their experience with you by you going above and beyond what your original job description is. And that's a massive increase in experience. So you could do something like welcome. You could do something like set it up for them. You could do something like sending out cards. You could do something like increasing the experience level in your product. If you have a digital product, if you sell stuff online or whatever, spend time making your membership area not really beautiful, because my membership areas are not beautiful at all. But don't make it beautiful. Make it easy to do, because that's the experience they're looking for. If it has rocket ships flying all over the place and like all this fancy stuff, but they can't find the welcome video, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, right? Most of my members areas are white web pages with videos just going down the page. Because it's just like welcome, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bonus, 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 done. That's it, right? It's easy, and the experience is really good, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about increasing status. This one's harder. Okay, experience is pretty easy. Increasing someone's experience with your product or service is pretty easy. If you have an offline business and you sell hamburgers or whatever, make sure your place is clean, right? Wipe down the table after every person that comes in. Make sure that your staff is friendly. Make sure that they're greeting people at the door. Make sure that they're handing out menus. Make sure they're giving out the right change. Experience is simple, but status is really difficult. You can do it, but it's harder, okay? So I'll give you an example of status, right? You have two people that pull up to your office or your home at the same exact time. They're both in brand new cars. On the left is a Honda Civic, and on the right is a Ferrari. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm not here to argue. Human nature is going to tell us you have no control of this. You're going to instantly value the person in the Ferrari more than the person in the Honda. I don't care who you are, what you do. You could be a freaking protester on the side of the street for equality or whatever. It doesn't make a difference. You are valuing the Ferrari person. That is built into our psyche as human beings, period. It takes a lot of time for that status level to be increased that high. I'll give you another example. You go to a meeting, and it's a conference. There's a whole bunch of people there, right? And there's, 10 people, and each person has a cup of coffee. 9 people in the room have a cup of coffee from a gas station. One of them has a Starbucks. You're going to value the person with the Starbucks coffee more. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is it's human nature, and it's built into us. We've been conditioned to believe that Starbucks coffee is more valuable, and therefore it increases our status if we have it. Same thing is true with a Ferrari or a Mercedes-Benz or whatever. Why do you think real estate agents that, one of the first things that they're going to go out and do, they're not going to go sell a lot of houses in their old beat up car. One of the first things they do with their commission check is they go out and buy a new car. Why? Because when somebody shows up to a listing appointment in a Mercedes-Benz, the status is there and it makes them easier to close the deal, right? So in order to build up status, it's more about building up your brand into something that people want to be attached to because it's important when it comes to their life, right? That's really what it's about. You want people to be attached to your brand, and you want them to go out and say, be proud when they show off your logo on their cup or their bowl or their plate or their shirt, or, when they're in Facebook groups, oh, well, I'm mentored by this guy, or you want people to be proud to mention your name. And that takes a long time to build up. And I'll give you a little bit of a trick and a little bit of hint on how to do it really quickly. Relatively speaking, it's still going to take you 6 months, but relatively quickly. And that is results. And I say this in pretty much every video that I'm ever going to do in my life, because business is all about getting people results. If you can get people results, you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want. It really doesn't make that much of a difference. The best way to build status in your brand is to get results for your customers and make those results outstanding. Okay, now, what you don't want to do, and a lot of people out there teach this stuff, and I can't believe they get away with doing it, but they do. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go out there and say, okay, I'm starting a new business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take on 10 people. I'm going to work with them one-on-one. I'm going to get them amazing results, get great testimonials for them, and then I'm going to automate the whole thing and use those 10 results to just blow up my company and scale to the moon. You don't want to do that, because what happens then is your results start to go down, right? You want to provide that extraordinary experience for everyone that walks in your door. No matter how long or how big you want to go, how long you want to be in business, what you want to scale to, you want to provide those extraordinary results to literally every human being that walks in the door, okay? That takes time, that takes effort, that takes energy, that takes money. You got to hire the right people. You got to surround yourself with the right team. We're going to talk about that in future videos. But the bottom line is results build brand recognition. Results make people proud to say they're attached to you, right? Results make people want to spread your name and your company and your brand and everything else. Now, one last thing I'll give you when it comes to status. Remember, we want to increase all of these, right? If we look at our scale like this, we have status experience and status experience, okay? We want to make sure that anything that's negative, we bring it down, and anything that's positive, we bring it up. This is on the positive side, right? So brand and results. The last thing that I'll give you, in my opinion, is the quickest and easiest way to build status in any company in the world. It's something that you could do literally in like an hour, and you instantly build status in your brand, okay? This could be a brand new company. It could be a company that's been in business for 50 years. Doesn't make a difference. Any company in the world, you could sell gum, or you could sell landscaping, you could sell digital products, services, shirts, whatever. It doesn't matter. And that is raise your price. Dramatically raise your price. We gave the car example. What's the main difference between a Ferrari and a Honda? One goes a little bit faster than the other. Maybe one looks a little bit cooler than the other. But why is the status there? The status is there because you inherently know that if someone pulls up in a Ferrari, they spent 300 grand on a car, right? Or whatever they cost. I've never had one, so I don't really know. But whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that they cost. What's interesting is that, and this I have been through, what's interesting is that someone could pull up in a Mercedes-Benz, and I could pull up in an F-150, and the Mercedes-Benz is still going to win out, even though the truck that I drive is more. Why? Because they've conditioned our mind to understand and believe that that logo, the Mercedes-Benz logo, is attached to our status, and that's super high status. Even if you have a $15,000 used Benz, you drive up, someone else has a Ford F-150, brand new, $50,000 truck, you drive up next to him, the status level of the Mercedes driver is always going to be higher. So when you raise your price and you train your audience to understand that you are not going to be a race to the bottom, you're going to be so outside the norm when it comes to your pricing that it has to be something different. There has to be something there that I'm missing. If your audience is thinking that, then you're on the right track, right? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what business you're in. If you're doing landscaping, I'm just going to write this down real quick for you. Pricing. Raise your price. Up your price as high as you possibly can. Double it right now. So again, the reason why you want to do that, it's instant status. It's instant credibility. It's instant curiosity from the audience. If every other person, I'll use landscaping as an example because that's what we were talking about before. If every other person in your area is charging $40 a yard, I'm making this up, but $40 a yard, right? Every other person, they're between $30 and $50. And you come in, you give an estimate to someone, you're like, it's 85 bucks. They're going to think first, wow, that guy's way out of the league. That guy's way higher than everybody else. And then they're going to think to themselves, why? There has to be a reason why. Now, if you combine that with other things like results, we talked about when we talked about experience, right? Showing off results and showing off, time to get the result. Well, I'm $85 because I have 2,000 lawns that I cut, and every single one of them say that I'm the best person they ever worked with in their life. I'm $85 because when I tell you I'm going to be here at 9, I'm going to be here at 8:55. I'm $85 because when you want your lawn to look like Yankee Stadium, it's going to look like that every single Tuesday when I show up. Now, those other people, they may be here too, but you're just another number on their list, right? So they start to think about those things, and then you can explain them, and you could prove them with assurance. And when you do that, it's easier to close a deal at a higher price, which builds status in your brand and makes other people proud to say they work with you and spread your name and get you referrals and things like that. All right. So to wrap it up, this is what you need to know about creating an offer. You need to know that people buy things for two reasons. They buy things for status and they buy things for experience. Those are the only two reasons why people buy things. This status and experience thing is on both sides of this scale. We want to make sure that this side is high, this side is low. These are all the negative things, right? And these are all the positive things. This is, I'm going to get a better result. I'm going to have a better life. I'm going to shorten my time span to get the result. I'm going to be surrounded by the right people. I'm going to be held accountable. I'm going to be protected in some way, shape, or form. It's going to make me feel better about myself. I'm going to have a great experience. All of those things. This is, I'm afraid of risk. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of spending too much time. My wife's going to get mad at me. My friends are going to laugh at me. I'm going to be embarrassed if it doesn't work. We have to lower these and increase these. And when we do those two things, it's very easy to close a deal. I've been selling my whole entire life since I'm 15 years old. And I tell people all the time, I don't close deals like a machine because I'm better than anybody else. I do it for two reasons. I close 80% of the people I talk to on the phone for two reasons. One, I've been doing it a very long time. And I've heard every objection in the book, like I just know it, right? The other reason is because I understand this stuff. And when you understand this stuff, closing a deal is there's no argument. There is no objection because they're all overcome before I even get on the phone with them, right? And now my when I say 80%, my thing is a little bit different. I get applications that come in, we review the applications, they watch a webinar, they read a PDF. By the time they get to me, they're 80% of the way closed anyway, But a lot of the people that work with me, my salespeople, they're closing 40 or 50%. I'm closing 80%. Why? Because I know this stuff inside and out, backwards and forwards. I know the status and experience scale, and I know what makes it go up, and I know what makes it go down based on the audience that I'm working in. So when you understand that, it's very easy to get to yes. All right, so I hope you took something out of this video. I hope you found it valuable. If you like stuff like this, please subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell so you get notified when we release new videos, which right now is going to be weekly, and then we're probably going to go to twice a week, and then before long, we'll be at 4 or 5 times a week because I just can't shut up. I just keep, as you know, we've been going now for like 20 minutes. I just like to do this stuff, and I think it's really valuable for you guys, and you guys can take it and use it, and whatever. It is what it is. All right? Nothing to sell you, as always, just really good content. Take notes, watch it again, and do it because it works. When you get your result, let me know. Leave some comments below. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Take care.